All right, everyone, welcome to Ready Set Light, introducing ETC's Set Light app. Thank you for joining us today. I'm Ginger Swart. I'm with the ETC Education Center. I'm going to be your host for today's adventure into the Set Light app. So I am going to hand it over to Luke and Lowell.
Great. Well, thank you, Ginger. As foreshadowed, my name is Luke. I'm Luke Delwich. I'm the Entertainment Market Manager here at ETC based in Middleton, Wisconsin. I work alongside all of our product managers and our product management team to help bring new products out, including the stuff that you saw this morning with the Source 4 LED Series 3 and the Desire Fresnel. And with me is Lowell. Lowell, say hello.
Hi, I'm Lowell Alcott. I'm the product manager of integrative technologies for ETC. I'm also in marketing on the product management side, so I work with all of our R&D teams to help design and bring these products out. Specifically, I work with some of the color source console product lines, all the networking products, and then all of the apps. So SetLight is one of my deviant little children. So we're excited to spend some time with you today.
So yeah, I'll kick us off and say, let's answer the first question. What is SetLight? And the answer is that this is an app that's designed as a technician's tool for configuration and troubleshooting. At this point, it's not really a control app. This is a configuration app, and I say the clue's in the name, SetLight, not set queues. But we have a ton of ideas about where we're going to go in the future with this, but we're very curious for your feedback as well, not only here in this discussion, but we have a forum on our community server, community.etcconnect.com, and that's a great place to sort of share your ideas about what you might like to see in it. What I'll say is that this app is available for both iOS and Android. I'm pretty sure that they're both on the new versions that support Series 3 and Desire Fresnel are on the App Store now.
The Series 3 and Desire Fresnel ones will be coming out later this week. We released the Photometrics one today.
Yep.
So you could find out all about the fixtures, but since nothing's shipping quite yet, we'll get the SetLight version out in the next couple of days.
But there is a version there now already that you can play with that supports a bunch of other products like the Phosphor panel and the Phosphor Fresnel with, and actually the entire library of ETC lights. So jumping into how does it connect? How does this app connect? And there's kind of three different scenarios that you can use it in. One is NFC. And Lowell's going to talk a little bit about that in a moment. The other is via Multiverse transmitter, City Theatrical Multiverse. For those of you who missed out on the previous webinar about an hour ago, all about Multiverse, you can tune in on that later. And Ginger can put a link to that up. And the third way is directly to a DMX Cat technician's tool from City Theatrical. But Lowell, why don't you kick us off and talk a bit about NFC? And I'm going to put my phone on here so I can actually show all this stuff live.
Yeah, absolutely. So NFC is a technology that stands for near field communication. So if you've ever worked with anything like Apple or Android Pay, some of the other proximity sensor technologies, it's very similar to that. And NFC allows us to retrieve or send small amounts of information. So it's not going to be what you're doing for like a massive concert configuration to update all of that. But it's really powerful just for that simple little small. Now, because we're talking about a near field, a very short distance, you are actually needing to be at the fixture itself. But what's really cool about this is NFC generates enough power in the signal from your device to your receiver that it actually can work without power. So what Luke's going to show you right now is he's going to take his phone and he's going to go and unplug the fixture. That's fine. And he's going to tap the NFC button at the top of the app. And we're going to pull a configuration.
Pull configuration. And I don't have to unplug the fixture to do this. It's just a nice parlor trick. So
it is fun. So he's going to scan that. So that has now gone and it has requested the information from this fixture. So we get the name of the fixture, its starting address, the mode it's in, and various other configuration pieces that we can have for the device. Now, if Luke makes any changes here, so go ahead and change the backlight, maybe put it in a different mode or the name, whatever you want there, and then hit that push to go back. And we can now send that information to that. So that information is now sent to the fixture. It's cached on the fixture. And the next time that Luke plugs it in, it starts up, it's going to receive all that. Now, you don't have to have it unplugged, as Luke mentioned. You can absolutely do this with it live. But when it starts up, it goes and it reads that information that we had saved when it was powered off, and it loads that in now. So the back of that fixture is now going to show you that start address the mode we changed, all of the different naming, anything that's come there. Now, just to prove that, Luke, why don't you go ahead and close on that configure screen and go back to our NFC menu and go ahead and pull it again. All right, so now when Luke has pulled that again, you'll notice that updated name that he put in there, all of that has come right back in. So that is how we can work with the full features of a fixture, but we've also done some things to make it so really quick and easy to set things like addresses. So Luke, go back into that NFC menu there. And let's go to set address. So what this allows us to do is set a starting address, so whatever you want. You were at 101 on that fixture before.
Yeah, I'm going to set it to
and then if you want, you can actually set some footprint or sequential information. So let's say we're going to go and address all of our fixtures. They're already in direct mode. So select your direct mode there. And then go down to addressing, Luke.
Yeah.
And then you can choose, do you want the sequential? Do you want to do it in an offset or a gap or round it up to the nearest 10 or 11? Really, whatever different options there. Go ahead and just go into sequential. And now go ahead and hit push. And this is going to tell you to touch that. So once that's scanned, notice our start address has now rounded up to the next one. So what we could do if we had a series of fixtures along a pipe is we can set up, what modes we want to be in, what offset we want to do, and then as you just hit push and go, you can just step your way right down the line of fixtures and quickly address all of them. So really easy ways to get all of that information configured.
Yeah, just to illustrate that, maybe I'll put, hopefully you can see this on our GoPro camera. It might be better if I move it a little closer. It's a bit hard with all the glares and stuff in here. But if I say push again, it's now saying 125. So when I do that, we'll see the screen. It'll say NFC received. You can see I'm now on 125.
All right. The fact that you have that camera, the little GoPro right to show the back of that is super awesome and well planned. All right. So a couple of questions came in just as we're talking through, and then we'll show a couple other things. So the first one was, is there a way to explore the app without the fixture? Absolutely. You do not need a fixture for this. Luke, if you go ahead and close that, if you go down to the bottom of the app, there's a little plus. Go ahead and add that. And this is our device library. So go ahead and grab that Source 4 LED Series 3, and this is an X8 that you've got there, right?
It is.
Yeah, perfect. So this allows you to add one to your library. So you can give it a name.
Yep.
And you can predefine as many fixtures as you want. So you can choose, do you want one of these? Do you want 200 of them? However you want. You can set their starting addresses, the same offset modes that we were just talking about in addressing. And then I can set, some other information here. Go ahead and create that, Luke. And so now it's created a number of those. And if you select one and hit the little gear down at the bottom, you can configure all this, see that information, and then you could also use that to push back to the fixture. We're not going to do that right now because Luke got this all plugged in. We want to leave this for part of his demo and not unplug it, but you get the idea that you can just go into NFC and set that. So we took a look at grabbing information from a fixture and setting that up. We took a look at doing some quick addressing. You could also go through and you could set up a fixture inside of here for every fixture you have in your rig, give it all of its name, give it its start address, and then when you come in, just push this fixture, go to the next one, push this fixture, go to this fixture. And we're going to talk about how some of this works with the multiverse world in a second, but I want to hit some of these questions real fast. So how does this work with the Sensor 3 TPSR app? So right now, those are two separate apps. So we have the TPSR, which is our through power configuration on the sensor side. We definitely have been taking a look at ways that we can merge some of our app functionalities together. I do feel, and I'm going to say a bad thing here, we're getting a little Adobe-ish. We have a few too many apps. So Luke and I have been throwing around some ideas of how we would like to merge that together. But for right now, those are two separate apps. But I would not be surprised at all if more and more things start becoming part of the SetLight family. Next down, do you folks think this would be something valuable for Apple Watch or other similar products with NFC capabilities? I personally think that's a really cool idea. Being able to do it with your watch, just, putting your phone up there. It's all about figuring out UI and just how we want to do that. I am a big fan of I normally have my Apple Watch, but I forgot to charge it last night, so I took it off. Who knows? One of the cool things about all this is, while there are many elements of the Series 3 that we have made up brand new cool technologies, like that deep red emitter, like some of this multiverse technology, things like NFC are mainstream. So, the Apple Watch does it for all sorts of cool things. We can bench off that technology and really continue to add some fun stuff.
And I have to say, like, with this NFC functionality, when I first heard about it, I thought that sounds kind of fun. Like, maybe it's a parlor trick, and it's been incredibly useful. If you imagine how many times, anybody on the call, that you've had a fixture that's awkwardly too high and you can't really get up to see the user interface to change something, or even too low, it's sitting on the floor pointing up as an uplight, whatever the case might be, to just be able to reach down, touch the thing. You have an interface in front of you that you're already familiar with, and touch it back. It's really changed the way I work with the lights.
Yeah. All right, next question. NFC use no power from the unit? Absolutely. If I have a light in a box far past, and I want how long would the eternal battery last? So we're actually writing to a bit of flash memory. So in theory, it should last a very long time. So hopefully you don't have to worry about that. If you're using this to configure and you're not putting your fixtures up for like a couple of years, you might need to redo it. But within any form of a couple of days, you should be totally fine. I don't actually know if we've done a long-term test on that. Do you, Luke?
I'm not sure. Not that I've heard of.
We'll take a look, but since it's right into flash memory, it really shouldn't. You should never run into any concerns there.
And the other really kind of neat thing that you can do with this, and maybe you were going to mention this, Lowell, is because under this menu it does have reset configuration. Essentially, put factory defaults on this fixture. Mm-hmm. You don't even have to power it up to open up the case when something in a rental shop situation, something like that. Stuff comes back, tap, 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 reset the configuration on all of them without powering it up and finding that menu item. Yeah.
All right, so where were we? Any plans for NFC to be implemented to existing fixture lines or just new lines in the fixture? Never say never, but right now we're just focusing on any new fixture, considering whether we're going to add both the NFC or the multiverse, and also some products that are not fixtures. Proximity range for NFC. This one's a little tricky. It is kind of dependent on your hardware. I have found that Apple devices are a little bit more forgiving of the proximity than some of the Android devices, but there's so many different variables in the Android devices, it could have just been the model we were playing with. But at the end of the day, it is pretty much a tap. You really want to get into that close range as much as you can.
Yeah, I'm just getting here, and now I'm probably about a centimeter away before it reads. Yeah.
All right, moving on down. Can I import a patch from EOS or Lightright into the app? Not yet, but definitely on our to-do list. We'd love to do some things from either EOS or just CSV dumps or anything that we can get from Vectorworks or Lightright or anything. Really cool idea and definitely somewhere we want to go. Are there other products using NFC, and will this app work with them? So right now, it is just an ETC product that we're doing that. We'll see what happens in the future. And then as for other products, right now, it's the Phosphor line and the Series 3 and Desire for Now lines. But we like this technology. We're going to use this a lot. It's really cool, and I could definitely see it coming into play in some of the networking products, maybe even some of our architectural products. It's a great way to do some quick configuration.
Yep.
Right. Sorry, a lot of great questions here. Apparently, Google says 8 to 9 years for Flash without power. Thank you, Mr. Elpoff. All right. Cool. All right. I think I got through all of the questions here. But if I didn't, I will take a second and just read through. Luke, why don't you take us through some of the multiverse functionality?
Yeah, so that was the sort of first and easiest way to connect, which is that NFC functionality, tap in, tap out. The next one I want to talk about is with multiverse. So in front of me here, I have a City Theatrical multiverse transmitter. And then I can set up a Bluetooth link, and I've already done this, so you won't see all the steps, but it'll be pretty straightforward to connect to that transmitter. So I'm going to go in here. You can see on my screen, hopefully, that it says Multiverse Transmitter 5910, which is the model number available. So I'm going to connect to it, and boom, I'm connected just like that. That's a Bluetooth link. When I close this now, you'll see a bunch of fixtures starting to come in, and those are these very fixtures. Because these are on Multiverse connected to this device, I can see them. So I'll go in and I'll say, let's do the one that you can see here, the Series 3. I can hold down and press on it, and I'll say identify, and what that will do is flash it. It's an RDM style identify command. I can also go in and configure it, press and hold, configure. Again, I get the name, the start address, and the mode, and I could change those. For example, I'm going to change that from front of house 6 to front of house 5 and hit apply. I don't have to go in and tap it or anything like that now. It's done. Behind the scenes, this is RDM, so it's exactly the same as if I'd done this with an RDM controller. But it's gone in and changed the name of that, and I think we'd be able to see that. Let me just look in the diagnostics about Fixture. If I put on the GoPro here, just to prove it, that you can see that it says source for LED Series 3 Luster X8 FOH 5. So pretty straightforward interface there. I can also select multiple here. I can add new fixtures, and then if I add them but they're not yet online yet, I can bind them. So that allows me to say I'm going to set up some offline devices, configure them the way I want, and then once they're connected on Multiverse, go in and say, okay, pair this one to that fixture, pair to this fixture, etc. It's pretty cool stuff, I think.
All right,
any questions on that?
Yeah, a couple came in. So one more just on NFC. Is there a future possibility for a USB accessory or console native NFC for pushing to the app? Nothing in our immediate line plan, but I could totally see some cool stuff there. And can lighting devices only be linked to one app/mobile device? How would this work in the team of elects prepping a rig? So since this is RDM, it's all there is no real linking. So if you have two people working with this, it would just be a latest Express-in style of configuration. So the one restriction there is one app to one transmitter at a time. So if you are, with the NFC stuff, it doesn't matter. Whoever's at the proximity gets the control. So if you have multiple fixtures on the one transmitter, you would have one app connected at a time. But as soon as you disconnect from that, someone else could connect in, and you can easily hand that up. If you have multiple transmitters in your rig, everybody could be connected to their own. With some configuration options there. If you're also using Concert or EOS to configure via RDM, all of that is bidirectional, so you would be able to support that in a multiple situation, no problem.
Yep.
Another one came in, can you send someone else with the app a configuration? Not yet, but that is very high on our to-do list. We really want to be able to let you prep using the phone and then send it to your ME or your shop or whoever and be able to move that around. Very cool concept that we will be exploring fairly soon. And then Luke, one came in, can you use a DMX Cat to access the fixtures?
Well, it's an excellent segue. Let's do just that. So I've gone in here to my connections icon on the top left, and I can see that I'm still connected to this Multiverse transmitter. I'm going to disconnect from that, so I'm no longer connected. You can see, because I'm disconnected, the fixtures remain on that home screen, but they have a red dot to say that they're not being seen, they're offline. I'm just going to remove all of those.
Luke, so now I'm back in. Hold on select all, you can delete them all simultaneously.
Really? That's cool.
Yeah.
I'm going to turn on my DMX Cat. So on the floor next to me, simply because I don't have enough space on the desk for all of these things, I have a Color Source Spot Junior fixture. And then here, connected via DMX, I have a DMX Cat cable, or a DMX Cat test tool from City Theatrical. So I'm going to turn that on. Green light is flashing, so it's good. And so now when I go into my connection wizard, it'll say, would you like to connect? Actually, I had that set up for auto connect, but I went in and it connected to this DMX Cat directly. And now you'll see on the screen that I have this guy. And I'm going to change my view here to be a table. You can see color source spot junior, deep blue, address 11. Prove it, press and hold. Actually, I'm going to go back to identify mode now, and you'll see it flashing behind me on the wall because it's in identify mode.
So let's take a second to chat about identify mode, because that's a pretty cool functionality. So as Luke pointed out, you've got two different modes in here inside of options. You've got your standard, which is what we were operating in before. Select something, make a configuration, ask it to identify. Or you've got identify mode. And what identify mode does is as soon as you select it, it starts the RDM identify, which is great if you're just trying to figure out which fixture is where, or if you're doing like a quick little rig trek, you want to go through and just make sure everything's still powered on or functional. Either way, you know, whatever option you've got there is really fun and really quick and easy to use for whatever you're trying to accomplish. So I'd love to know if people are using one mode or another. We added them both in as a fun way to quickly have some functionality, but love to see what you're using.
And very much like if I were connected through the transmitter, I can go into configure here, change the name, just add a 1 at the end and say apply. And again, I don't have to go in and tap anything like that. It's just sent that information via Bluetooth to the DMX Cat, and from there it's RDM to the fixture. So this will work on any ETC fixture that has RDM.
ETC or a hand.
Yes. And for a list of what those might be, you can always go into the device library and you can see throughout here, that's a lot of different fixtures.
So the version of the code that Luke is using right now is actually our 1.2.0 release, which we'll be putting up into the app stores either at the end of this week or the beginning of next. There are a couple of cool new features I'd like to just walk you through and show in this. So Luke, if you want to go back into that ad for a second. So up at the top, you now have your favorites list. So these are ones that you have the ability to customize. So if you know in your space, we're going to be working with just these phosphors and a couple of Series 3s, you can put that in there. Either one of these, if you swipe with it, Luke. Oh, sorry, left to right.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, right to left. Maybe I didn't tell you the wrong thing. Sorry. There you go. You can unfavorite. Now, if you go into just a regular list.
Oh, you want me to unfavorite that one? Okay.
Sure.
Yep.
And now if you do that same swipe on one of these, pick any one you want.
Source for LED, Series 3, luster, actually, right click.
Yep. And then you can just favorite that. And now if you go back to your device library, you've put that back in. So you can go through and customize this favorites for whatever devices and fixture types you think you'll be using the most. Another thing I want to show you, go ahead, Luke, and just grab any fixture you want.
Mm-hmm.
And go ahead and set that to be start address 11.
Yep.
Just give that a name and create it. Good, nice fixture. This could be bad fixture. That's good. Go ahead and create that. All right, now let's go ahead and just go in and do that one more time. And go ahead and put that at start address at like 10.
Yep, typo. This is being recorded. I have to fix it. So start address 11. Yep.
All right, now hit create on that one. Now notice we now have a warning symbol up at the top. So go ahead and tap that. And this is now telling us that we have two devices that are actually in conflicting address ranges. So a little tool that we've added in here to sort of help you see what's going on with the fixtures and how they're doing that, giving you that ability to sort of come in and decide, okay, one of these has to move. Which one do you want to do? And then last thing, if you go back in all the way to the home screen there, close that, and then go over to that menu on the right-hand side. Down inside here, we've got a couple of things at the bottom I want to point out. If you go into help, this is going to start up a little onboarding. So if you ever forget how to do something or want to step through this, the first time you install this app, it is going to give you this to go through and see. But this is all the instructions for where that kind of information is. And then if you go into About, This is just all of our minimum versions, where to to know which version of software you have on there, what the library is. Is your device NFC? Because we do support some devices that don't have an NFC chip in it, and then what the multiverse version is, and then down at the bottom, and don't feel like you need to hit this right now, Luke, but there is also a link right to our forums if you want to chat about the app or give any feedback there. All right, a couple other questions came in here. Once EOS and other support ESTA 133 for RDMnet, will SetLight support that if it's floating around on a network? Absolutely. So we're all very excited about what RDMnet can potentially do. But this will give us some ability to do some RDMnet functionality with potentially with our gateways, with the devices. Be very interesting to see how we can start doing that. RDMnet is still, it is a ratified standard now. It's still very much in development. We have it on our GitHub if anybody is looking to play with it. Any manufacturers who are listening on this also want to play around, we'd love to have you give it a try. But something that we'll be seeing and hearing more about as this year goes on. But yeah, cool. All right, that's kind of our question set. Luke, do you want to talk about anything else on connectivity, or set up a system at all? Or we covered a lot
kind
about
of all
multiverse
I had
devices.
to talk about, and we talked a lot about multiverse in the previous session. And it's an app, so it is designed to be pretty straightforward, pretty intuitive. But if you do have ideas, and as you have ideas, and this would solve a problem for me if it did this cool thing, let us know. Put it in that forum, directly email Lowell or me. We're always happy to talk about that stuff.
Yeah, the cool thing about SetLight, and actually sort of our entire apps team, is it's a great group looking at ways to better support our products. So we're always adding new and exciting features into there. And yeah, NFC is just cool.
Yeah.
I'm really excited about how well it turned out, and I can't wait to see where we go next. But yeah, that's kind of what I got too. So if there aren't any other questions, Luke and I will stick around for a little while. But thank you all very much for coming to all of the classes today. It's been a really exciting and fun day for all of us. And hopefully you all agree that we're putting out some pretty cool stuff. And we look forward to seeing you use it, and hopefully all being back in a space using it together in the not too distant future. Ginger, anything to sign us off here?
No, just thank you both for a great overview of the SetLight app. I think it looks great. And I just want to thank everybody again for joining us today. Spence?
Oh, we did have just another question come in. Not sure if this has been answered, but can the app preset a color on the fixture if it's being used in standalone mode? So we are just starting to work on some of the control stuff. In this version, we do have the ability to activate some presets. We'll continue expanding that. That's just the preset activation, no customization on that quite yet. We're doing a lot of work to pair up the fixtures in the app to do some form of control investigation right now. Not entirely sure what direction we're going to go on that. A lot of different options, but we will be talking about that soon. Could be very cool stuff.
Yeah.
And can I configure the multiverse settings of a fixture through the app, like which universe the fixture is supposed to listen to? We are supporting that on the NFC side right now, not on the actual multiverse side, because it would be a little weird if you disable multiverse via multiverse. So that is in there on the NFC. We will be looking into some better ways to handle that and opening up some of the more advanced RDM configuration over NFC. Over multiverse. NFC has a decent amount of it right now. We'll be expanding that in a future version. All right. Cool. Well, thanks, everybody. If you got any more questions, feel free to reach out, or any of the various ways Luke mentioned. We'll talk to you all soon.
All right. Thank you very much.